If you're like me, you've got a very favorite pair of jeans out there, and after you've been wearing them for a week in and week out, they start to get a little bit worn. So today's tutorial on man sewing, I'm going to show you how to either repair or embellish your favorite pair of jeans. Let's get started. If you have ever tried to take your jeans repair one step past the iron-on patch, you just thought, man, this is crazy. How on earth we put this whole leg of pants inside on the free arm of the sewing machine? And hold the phones, everyone. We're not going to do that. That's right. Today's trick is all about how do we get inside so I can build myself a cool patch like I did with this awesome bandana fabric that comes from Timeless Treasures. I just love the way this looks. Check this out. Okay, so we're going to put that back here, and not only is that going to stabilize and keep this from ripping anymore, but it's also going to be stitched in there so that it doesn't come free over time. And the key is getting inside of the pant leg. So with all of our pants that I've ever worked with, what happens is there's two kinds of seams going on. So let's turn this to the inside out, and you can even see we've tried the patch in the past. This is what I was talking about, that iron-on patch. We're going to do one better than that today. Okay, so let's look real closely, and I'll slow down if I can. You know me, I'm always caffeinated here at Man Sewing. This seam right here, if you look really closely, it has been done with a serger, so it's making this series of chain stitches and overlock stitches all along this edge. So I cannot separate these two layers, the front and the back panel of the pants. However, on this side here, each edge is serged, but they're not serged together. That's right. This edge right here is open, each panel. So all you need is a seam ripper. And you can come through here and you basically go about every, I'm going to say 5 or 6 stitches. So I'm going to pop a stitch, and I'm going to come up here about 6 stitches later, pop a stitch. I'm starting 1 inch up from the bottom. We are not going to undo the bottom cuff. There's no reason to get that undone to make this work today. And we're going to pop stitches all the way till we get within about 1 inch of the pocket up here at the top. Now, while I was getting ready today, I went through and started popping stitches. Let's see if this is going to work. I should be able to get in here and give a little bit of a tug. And now that I've done that, we're just going to open this right up. And one of the things I'm not going to do is I'm not going to press this seam flat. I want to be able to bring these seams right back together when we put it back together. So that makes life real easy. But this here, didn't quite get all those stitches popped. So all I have to do if that happens is come in here with the seam ripper, take a few more of those out, and then there we are right back on track. See how easy that is? Stopping at least 1 inch below the pocket. And now would you look at that? The whole pant leg lays open nice and flat. So had I been embellishing like I was doing on this, where I put an embroidered design on the outside of the jeans, once it was flat like this, I was able to very easily lay it inside of an embroidery hoop, connect it to my digital embroidery machine, and stitch out that design. You can see for working on the inside to create a patch to try to re-secure this spot right here, it's going to be really easy because now the whole leg is flat and I don't have to worry about accidentally sewing my pants closed in the repair mode. Let me show you how to make a patch here. Now, as you're getting ready to build your patch, the first thing I did is I determined the amount of jeans I needed to fix, and then I went 1 inch larger in both the top direction and I'm just going to say the left direction. I basically need a 1/2 inch of extra all the way around because of the way we're going to set this up. So let's pretend like we're making our patch here. So I've got my bandana fabric, and I'm just going to quickly make a slice here and another slice here to clean this up. Okay, and so let's say I was trying to make a 3x5 hole cover, so I'm going to make a 4x6 patch. And then I want to use something so that I don't get glue. I'm going to use a lapel stick, and these things are wonderful. And actually, ladies and gentlemen out there, you should keep one of these in your purse or your man purse if you've got one of those, because you can fix just about anything with a lapel stick. So I actually keep one of these handy at all times. But I'm going to use it real quick on the edge, this outer edge, and I'm just wiping this. So the reason I've got my little manila folder down is I don't want to get glue on my cutting mat. And then I've done about 1/4 inch, and then I'm just going to fold this over. And the trick here is we are going to stitch through this. So if you can do it with a small amount of glue, I would be happier than if you did it with a large amount of glue. And we're going to first do all the 4 sides of the raw edge underneath. And then we're going to come back around and we're going to give it one more fold so we have no raw edges. so that when we sew this down and then wash it later, we don't have a bunch of threads hanging out in the laundry. This is not going to be seen. This is going to be on the inside of your pants. So if you don't get it perfect, don't worry. We just want to make sure it's larger than the hole so that we're not stitching right along the hole on our repair work. So just like that. Now I've gone around all 4 sides, and I'll show you on the patch we're actually going to use here. Let me cover up my stick so it doesn't dry. I actually went ahead and did the finished edge, so I have no raw edges all the way around. I am not worried at all about that little corner flap that's going to get stitched down as we get started here. Now from there, we're just going to bounce over to the sewing machine. And actually that's not at all true, because what I really want to do is I want to adhere the patch. So let's put our thinking caps on here. The patch we want to show on the outside of the pants. So it's going to actually lay with its print side against the inside of the denim. And because I'm doing such a large patch here, one of the other tricks I've learned is with my lapel stick again, I'm going to just anchor this down. Now in order to do that, I'm just coming along this outer edge. And it doesn't matter if I make a mess right now because it's all going to be on the inside of the pant leg. And then I'm just going to stick this down. I am being mindful of where my seam allowance is going to be when I put the pants back together. And on a patch that's this long, I don't even really need to do the top and bottom. I can just do the outer edges there. Okay, but I do want to make sure it's secure and that the jeans have as much of the flex taken out of them so that they're nice and flat there. And I'm going to let that set up for just a second, and we can certainly stitch through this, no problem. Let's talk about that stitch though. One of the important things we're going to want to do here, and I am using cotton thread, and I'm using a thread that will match on the outside of the denim. So I want to use a nice light blue because it will show through on the outside. And that's in my bobbin, but I'm also using it in the top. And then I have my sewing machine, and some of you may not even know what this is for, but there's a sewing stitch that looks like it's 3 stitches next to each other in a straight mode. You also might have them in a zigzag. They're called your stretch stitches. So when a machine takes several stitches back and forth, what it's doing is it's accounting for the fact that you're using a stretchable fabric, and that stretchable fabric needs to be able to give with the stitches so that we don't break our thread that we're sewing down. You could certainly use polyester thread for this because it is going to be construction as well, but I like cotton because it doesn't have the sheen. And watch this triple stitch work for me here. So I'm going to go nice and slow. And I don't know if you can tell or not, but the needle's actually going back and forth about 3 times. And that makes it nice and strong, and will keep it from breaking the threads as we go. So now I'm just going to keep heading down to the bottom corner. Okay, I'm slowing down as I get down to the corner here because what I want to do is make sure that I can leave my needle dropped. And now, because the pants are opened and completely flat, I can just swing around the corner there. I'm catching that little tail that I left on the actual bandana fabric itself. And we're going across here. And then ready to go back up. So I've got my needle in the down position so I'm not losing my place. And here we go, heading back up that stitch, up that patch. And the job is done. Check this out. Let me bring it over here for you. So you can see that that's been triple stitched all the way around. Maybe if we bring you in nice and close, you can actually see it kind of adds a thickness to the stitch. So I didn't use a heavy thread. I should point that out also. I used a standard 40 weight cotton, so that not a heavy thread, but it certainly did the job. And now as I pull on this, even though the jeans are stretching and flexing, as you can see, I'm not breaking my stitches out, right? From the outside edge, hopefully you can't see much. I used a nice, real neutral blue or light blue in there. So that's all there is to it. Now that the patch is in, if I wanted to, I could come in here and cut some zigzag or some rips to actually tease open that hole to make it look more like the other knee. That can be done now, or it can be done later. I want to show you how to put your pants back together. Of course, you're not wearing them yet. You're just still working on them. And all we need for this is I'm just going to line my seams back up. Now, it would be wise of me to tell you to take the time and pick out these extra fibers so that they're not there later. If you leave a few behind, they'll probably fall out as you wash the pant. And it would be a good idea if you're using a flexible or a looser knit fabric in your patch to also pre-wash your patch fabrics, because your jeans have been washed so many times. That's why they become our favorite jeans. Okay, you get the idea there. I'm gonna go ahead and just put these back together anyways. Okay, as you could probably see by the mess all over the cutting table, I couldn't resist. I had to pick all the stitches out. Let's do it right. Now, what I was starting to explain is we're just gonna line these back up, and you can see how faded the pants have become over time. So I can visually line those up, or I can line up my outer edge. A lot of times I can actually feel this crease right in here with my finger. And so I'm going to approach the pant in which side the pant works best from. So what I'm trying to say is it doesn't matter if I stitch from the bottom up or from the top down. I want to stitch so it's as easy for me to manipulate the denim under the machine as possible. So I'm coming over here, double checking. And now, again, if you wanted to sew with polyester thread, you certainly could. You do not need to put a thick thread in here for this, because again, this is the seam. This does not show. I'm going to actually continue to use the triple stitch because that's what the machine's set up for, and I really like the effect it gives. Plus, it's a good thing to learn and keep that in your tool belt for the future, right? What that triple stitch is designed for. So here we go. I'm just going to begin letting the needle ride right in the crease that was left behind from where the thread was earlier. And it doesn't take long, but it takes about 3 times the time when you're using a triple stitch. Okay, now, because I started at the bottom, I'm coming towards the top with that triple stitch. I'm just making sure that I have the pocket outside of the stitch. I want to make sure I'm not tacking the pocket in the place I don't want to. And I am just about finished here. So again, I don't need to back stitch because I've been doing that every other stitch. And we now have the pants all the way back together. So I can just reach my hand back in and turn them right sides out. And there we go. They're beautiful. They're patched. You can barely see the outline of where that is going to go ahead and secure it. And you are ready to slip these things back on and wear them for a few more months until it's time for another repair. Now, I need your help. You are the best fans out there and we love the comments. So of course this is an awesome way to embellish or repair your jeans. But what I need to know from you, my 12-year-old son is growing like 1 inch every 4 days or something. The kid's almost 6 foot tall. We all as a group have to figure out how do we keep adding denim to the bottom each time, like every week, so that he can keep growing and growing while I'm making great tutorials for you here at Man Sewing.